Niagara Falls thunders right on the border between the U.S. and Canada, plummeting over the rift, Lake Ontario. The American side crashes down 59 meters, while the Canadian Horseshoe falls from 57 meters. The two branches of the falls are separated by the Little Goat Island. Nearly 3 million liters of water plummet over the falls every minute. If you're brave enough to go close to the Niagara, you can experience the immense force of nature, which has been harnessed on both the American and the Canadian sides. The power of the water is used to produce electric energy. Niagara Falls was first sighted 300 years ago by a traveler named La Salle and his Belgian missionary companion, Hennepin. Or at least as far as white people are concerned, because the Native Americans had known the falls long before that. The name Niagara comes from the Chippewa Nation, and it means far roaring. The sight must have been even more impressive then, because before the power plants were built, 1 million liters more water came down on the Ontario rock shelf, which was also 10 kilometers closer to the lake. Originally, the natives even offered human sacrifices to make peace with the powers of nature. Later, they threw crops like corn and tobacco in the water as a sacrifice. This tradition still persists today. Niagara Falls attracts millions of visitors in every season. You can even enjoy the cool water spraying onto your face in the hot summer days. But in the winter, the amazing sight of the lace-like frozen water is your reward for enduring the icy shower. As technology develops, man has invented numerous ways to observe the falls from closer. Today, there are still tiny diesel boats that venture into the hollow of the Horseshoe every 15 minutes. The crews of these tiny boats lend raincoats to their passengers who would be drenched otherwise. It's almost scary to descend from Table Rock House into the 40-meter depth where tunnels open behind the water curtain. Many people say that the falls are more beautiful on the Canadian side, and they do use this opportunity. You can go up into Konica Minolta Tower, previously called Panasonic Tower and later Seagram Tower. Another option is the Aerocar that moves on a cableway above the Abyss, designed by Spanish engineer Leonardo Torres y Quevedo. You can also go for a helicopter tour. In that case, you'll have an expansive view of the neighboring areas as well. You can take a small train or a carriage to the edge of the falls. External glass elevators take you up into the 157-meter-tall Skylone Tower. On the top, you'll find open-air and covered observation decks and also a revolving restaurant. If you have lunch or dinner here, you don't have to pay an entry fee. Niagara Falls Museum is located at the foot of the tower. The museum pays tribute to all those people who tried to navigate the falls in some sort of homemade contraption. Some of them did survive it. Today, experiments of this kind are strictly prohibited, but from time to time, there is someone who attempts it. Once the famous escape artist Houdini and the tightrope walker Blondine performed their acts here. There are many places of entertainment on both riverbanks. There's a wax museum, the Ripley's World of Wonder Museum, 3D and 4D cinemas, marine land with many aquariums and water shows, and there are also 2 casinos, Niagara Falls View Resort and Casino Niagara. In 1941, the Rainbow Bridge was opened. It's named after the natural phenomenon that often appears above the mist. Currently, this is the busiest border station between the U.S. and Canada, and here you can find yet another angle from which to view the falls. From time to time, you can watch laser, light, and sound shows and fireworks here. The big spectacle is, of course, home to a huge number of restaurants and hotels. Niagara Falls are visited by almost as many newlyweds as Las Vegas. The honeymoon suites of the hotels offer the best view to the falls, although the young couples may prefer to enjoy each other instead of the panorama. The bridge that once stood here was also called Honeymoon Bridge, but after it collapsed under the enormous weight of water that had frozen on it, it was rebuilt and renamed to become Rainbow Bridge. In 1911, an enthusiastic traveler wrote this in his diary. The elemental force of nature, the one that slashes gapes into the side of the Etna or fiery lava rivers, the one that tore the earth apart at Gibraltar and buried Atlantis in the abyss. The irresistible, elemental power that mocks man and eventually crushes itself in its wild rush. That is the Niagara.